Magic is a great addition to any artwork. Let's go through some simple steps where I can show you how to create magical swirls like this. Still need to add a few more swirls in, but this is another one that I have done. If you're wondering how to do the bird, it's a Patronus effect. So I did the same effect with the butterflies in this image, and I'm pretty sure I used this owl image as my YouTube tutorial. So I'll link it in the description below so you can find out how to create your own little Patronus animals. But going back to our original image here, so I'm going to take you through the steps to get these swirl-like effects, and to do that I suggest you use a new layer for each swirl. That way it gives you more room to correct any error or take a step back if needed. Now, we can use the colors from the image, or you can just stick to white. It's entirely up to you. So let's start with a soft round brush, and I've got the brush mode on linear dodge, so you can change that by just selecting the arrow and just scrolling down to this section here, linear dodge. The opacity I always reduce. The percentage that I reduce it to changes, and the flow I also reduce as well. So I'm just going to show you what happens when you use linear dodge mode and reduce your flow and opacity. As you go over top of with the brush, you can see that glow starts to appear, and this is going to be the effect that creates these beautiful like swirls that you can see on this image. So let's delete that layer and we're going to start again. So I've just got starting on a new layer. Now I'm going to use the eyedropper tool, and therefore I can sample a color in the image and use that as the swirl base color. Now I'm just using a mouse, so you don't have to use a pen or anything. It might be easier, but I do a lot of my editing with a mouse. I also use a pen, but for this tutorial I'm using a mouse. So I've just gone over this twice, and then just slowly coming back in and changing my brush size, just going in over top of the swirl. And then as I'm doing that, I'll start increasing the opacity. So as I increase the opacity, it's going to create that glow to be a little bit brighter. And it's just a process of painting over the top over and over again until you get a look that you're happy with. And changing up the brush color as needed using your eyedropper tool. And that is coming through so beautifully. Okay, so how much you want it to glow is entirely up to you. Okay, so then we're going to go to our smudge tool. So soft round brush, using the smudge tool, this is what the icon looks like, a soft round brush, and I just decrease the strength a little bit. So I usually work on 50, 60, sometimes 40%, just because you don't want to pull it too far. So if you're not used to using the smudge tool, I would suggest that on this layer you press Command J to duplicate that layer and just turn it off and work on the original layer. So if you make a mistake, you can go back to the original, or you can take step backs pressing Command Z on your keyboard, but you're limited to how many steps you can take back. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so then this is where we can go through and we can really get those edges swinging out with this smudge tool. And then, so this just adds just that little bit more. And it's just getting used to using this tool. Now say you use this tool and the color that you've chosen you actually really don't like and you want to change it. So at the moment we've chosen like a really kind of bright blue, which is, I think, is beautiful, but it doesn't really match in with the rest of the image as much. So if we were to change the coloring a little bit, we can easily do that by just going up to our adjustment layer, click adjustments, scroll down to hue saturation, add a clipping mask so it just affects the layer below. Now if you want the variations of colors in it, then I suggest you just use the hue slider, and then you can adjust the saturation as needed. So with this one, it's more just a saturation issue. There we go, that looks a little bit better. But if you want to change the whole color and just have one solid color, you select colorize. As you can see, it changes the whole color to just be one color. There's no variation in there at all. So it's entirely up to you what you want to do in that area. So there we go, that's on and off. But as you can see, we've lost a little bit of the glow happening there. If you bring up your saturation, it'll start to come back a little bit. Then another option that you can do is click on that layer, Command J, and then we're going to go to the top layer and change the layer mode and scroll down to either linear dodge or overlay. They can also make a really cool impact on the image. And I'll put this hue saturation underneath. And there we go. So I'm just going to keep going and creating more glows with this image so I can get it finished. But that is how you can easily create your own glow. Obviously there's lots of images that you can stack doing photo manipulation, but sometimes you can never quite get them exactly how you want it. So this is what I do as an alternative. That is it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I will put a link to the Patronus tutorial and a link to the brushes in the description below. Thanks.